Hello and welcome back to the continuation of our first topic, the surface area of 3D shapes. Continuing on from our last video, we will be figuring out how to calculate the surface area of a cylinder and a triangular prism. Now, for cylinders and triangular prisms and multiple other shapes, other prisms, there's a very simple formula right here, pH plus 2b. So in this, P is the perimeter of the base, H is the height of the figure, and B is the base area. So for example, if we draw a prism right here, the P would be the perimeter of the base, so this length, right? Height, no, just, so a simple thing to remember though, a lot of people will think the height is the height of the base, so it would be this. But that's wrong. It's not that length, it's this length. It's the height of the total 3D figure. And then the base area would be this. And since it's a triangular prism, the base would be a triangle. If you had a rectangular prism, the base would be a rectangle. If you had a pentagonal prism, the base would be a pentagon, and so on and on. Now, how to use this formula, let's say we had dimensions of 6, 10, 5, and we also do need to know the height of the triangle so that we can figure out the base area. So that would have to, so let's say that's 4. So first, let's find out the first part of the formula, the perimeter. So we have this given length to us, so the perimeter would be 6 plus the perimeter would be 6 plus 5 plus, and since there's no other given length to us, we just have to assume that it's an isosceles triangle and the other dimension would also be 5. So our total perimeter would be 6 plus 5, which is 16. And now our height is already given to us, 10. So if you look here, it says pH. So that means you have to multiply the perimeter, 16, times the height, 10. So that part would give us 16 times 10, 160. So we have the first part of the formula calculated. Now let's move on to the second part, 2b. So to figure out the base of a triangle, as we all know, the formula for it is BH over 2, or base times height over 2. So in this way, our base is 6 times 4 over 2, or in other words, 12. And so 1b would be 12, and it's asking for 2b. So that means we would have to do 12 times 2, which equals 24. Now we add the 2, and we get 184. So our final answer would be 184 units squared. Okay, so now let's move on to a cylinder. So a cylinder is a little different than other shapes because it has a circle for a base. And circles don't necessarily have the easiest formulas to figure out. But again, let's start out with our formula to find out what it should be. So let's say our dimensions are 10. The diameter is 6. And that's all we need to know. So now we would first calculate the perimeter. So the perimeter in this case would be the circumference. And circumference formula is 2 pi r. So our radius is 3. So we would do 2 times 3 times pi times 2, which would be 6 pi. And it's easier to just leave it in pi form because we don't want it to get too complicated and have to solve for pi and, So now we have the height is 10 as given to us. So you would multiply by 10, which is 60 pi. And then now we have to figure, so now we have pH, which is 60 pi. Now for 2b, first we have to figure out the area of 1b, or the base area. So in a circle's case, the area for a base is pi r squared. So r is 3 in this case, so it would be pi times 3 squared. And 3 squared, as we all know, is 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. So now we multiply this by pi, we get 9 pi. We multiply this by 2 because there's 2 bases, and we get 18 pi. Now this is one of the main reasons I said to keep it in pi form, so that when you do need to add it, it becomes very easy to add it, and you don't have to add multiple decimals together, and it would get very confusing. So 60 pi plus 18 pi is 78 pi. Now it becomes your choice whether to bring 78 pi to a decimal, and you can many people will just accept 3.14 as a good estimation of pi. You can multiply by 3, but more commonly I would suggest 3.14. And so in this case, if you multiply it by 3.14, your answer would be something like 244.92. So now you could either keep this answer. Sorry, my bad. You could either keep this answer and add unit squared to the end, or you could just keep this answer and add unit squared to the end. The one I would suggest is 78 pi. But both are fine, and both should be accepted, unless it says calculate in decimal form. Thank you, and this concludes our second part of the video, and our last and final part will have the surface area of a cone and pyramid. Thank you.